Good morning. It's Saturday, April 13th, and on Monday, jury selection begins for former President Donald Trump's criminal hush money trial. Now, Trump, who is now the presumptive Republican presidential nominee, is going to have his presidential campaign, squished a bit, or maybe squashed more than a bit, because he will be required to be in court, and he does not have the option of skipping any of the proceedings over the next 6 to 8 weeks. And knowing Trump's affinity and Trump's team's affinity to delay matters, if they start screwing around with delaying matters during this case, that could keep Trump out of the limelight for more than 6 to 8 weeks. And what happens if it takes the jury a week to decide his innocence or guilt? All of that time will be sucking up time that he could be campaigning. So this is not a good situation for ex-President Trump and new presidential candidate Trump. He will have to be treated, as he should be treated, as a suspect in a criminal trial. Now, here's a little background with respect to this case. 3 months ago, Donald Trump was in court, and he took the stand before a jury of 9 in the New York courtroom, and he wasn't ranting or he wasn't behaving bombastically at that particular time in that particular situation. But the former president's complaints about the case and his sparring with the judge took place out of the jury sight. Now, this is the E. Jean Carroll defamation case. And at that time, he gave a quick and scripted testimony that lasted about 3 minutes. And it was very unusual for him to be so quiet in the courtroom. But the following day, he found a way to protest the trial with the jury's eyes on him, storming out during the closing argument that was delivered by Carroll's lawyer. And the record will reflect that Mr. Trump just rose and walked out of the courtroom. That's what the judge announced, in case the jurors had missed it. Anyhow, that's a prelude to what's going to happen on Monday. Monday will be the beginning, completing this episode. This may be the only trial that Trump has to face before the November election. So this is a critical time for him, because once again he will sit before a jury in New York, and this time the stakes will be much, much higher. When I look at this, I recognize the fact that picking a jury with a former president as the defendant in the case will be a bitch for the people. I don't know how they're going to get 12 neutral people in that courtroom, because this deals with a monumental political animal. I honestly don't believe that there are many people, especially in New York, that haven't made up their minds one way or the other about whether Donald Trump is a snake or whether he's the Messiah. There doesn't seem to be any middle ground. So I think this jury selection will be one of the toughest jobs that these attorneys have faced in a long, long time. If ever. I don't recall any political figure this high up having to face what Donald Trump is having to face. I mean, he's the first presidential candidate that has been caught in this kind of shit that he has to face. So when we take a close look at this, we realize that Donald Trump, as the Republican 2024 nominee, should have monumental incentive to make an impression on both the jury deciding his guilt or innocence and the broader public. And I don't know if he's capable of making the impression that is necessary, because that would mean he would have to temper and control his emotions. I'm not sure he can do that. Or maybe he doesn't want to do that. Maybe that's his plan, to show his emotions, whatever they happen to be. Now, we all recognize that this is the first criminal trial of a former president in U.S. history, and it could be a determining factor in whether Trump is reelected in November, or even if he's allowed to finish his campaign. I don't know what's really at stake in penalties if he loses this case. Can't imagine what's going to happen if he loses this case. Will his constituents go crazy and try to overturn it? Who knows? Will his constituents go crazy and demonstrate in his favor? Will he lose votes? Who knows? I cannot envision this population of the United States reacting the way most people would react in this situation. He has a loyal band that will stand by him under any circumstances. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see how it turns out. But I don't think it's going to turn out well for Donald Trump if he loses the case. And I don't think it's going to turn out well for the country in general, whether he wins or loses this case. I think no matter which way this case goes, there will be many that will be upset with the decision. And there will be many that are willing to react on their feelings. So this case, no matter which way it goes, is going to put another hole, another big tear in the makeup of the United States population. So as I think about it, I have come to the conclusion that no matter which way this case goes, it will be bad for the country. Because there are too many people who are blind to the activities of Trump and his actions. And there are many, many, many who are staunch and will not bend on both sides. So I leave you with that this morning. A disaster in the making. Have a great day. Bye.